Hello everyone, and welcome to this weekly Monday live stream. I will give a few updates before we get into a conversation. So, the first thing I want to mention is that I now have subscription perks for TikTok. So, you can go to my profile and subscribe to it to get exclusive perks. I've mentioned this before, so I'll mention again. I don't want to lock content behind a paywall, so all my articles, all my videos will be freely available for everyone to enjoy. However, there will be exclusive bonuses from being subscribed to my TikTok account. So go ahead and check that out. Also, while you're on here and watching, check out my TikTok shop. I have a few new products there as well, and buying from my store will give me commissions. So feel free to get you something nice and to help me pay for college, basically. um, also, uh, I was messing around with Creator Marketplace or TikTok One, as it is called. I believe I have a account there, but apparently I'm not eligible to like get the brand deals and stuff. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think I'm eligible, but I have been digging around the internet spaces to see if I could get brand deals and those sorts of things. Low key, I would love to get like a BetterHelp sponsorship. That'd be like so cool, in my opinion. Um, I feel like it fits the content very well, so that'd be dope. Few other things. I set up stars on Facebook, so you can also give my videos and stuff stars on Facebook, and that will contribute financially. Similarly, I set up gifts on Instagram, so you guys can send in money that way as well. A few points to note for YouTube. My video on trauma and relationships, which was last Monday's TikTok live stream, where I interviewed a former therapist named Erin Doolittle. She really cool person, met her through TikTok, and so that stream is going to premiere at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel today. So right after this live stream, you guys can go check that out and learn more about trauma and relationships. Furthermore, I want to announce this. I will be making men's mental health and Pride Month content in June. So the idea is that, so far, at least right now, the idea is that each video is going, or each day is going to have two videos, one of those being a Pride Month video and the other one being a men's mental health video. So make sure you're tuning in through the month of June, because it's going to get fun, it's going to get sad, and it's going to get a bit spicy. Not in a good way. So make sure you check out my content around that time. Speaking of June, and content, I also have a YouTube video that's going to be coming out discussing 4 different Christian views on transgenderism, and that video is going to come out like June 1st or 2nd on my YouTube channel. Could you check that out? I'm really excited for that. That's actually a class assignment. It was a book review for class that I turned into a video. Got praise from my professor for it, so very excited about that video. Speaking of YouTube, feel free to check out my YouTube membership program. Similarly to TikTok subscription, you will get exclusive perks for being a member of my YouTube channel. And I also want to note that I make content for the Clyde Park Church and Nazarene YouTube channel, and I do have some videos planned, hopefully this week, but definitely throughout the month of June as well. So I would encourage you to, on YouTube, after this live stream, of course, go to the Clyde Park Church and Nazarene YouTube channel and check out some of the content there. I have a video coming up on New Testament wisdom, which is long overdue, and is going to come out this week. And I have a video planned in June about scripture and its relation to men's mental health. So feel free to check all of that out as well. So, do you have any announcements or updates you would like to share?
Yeah, I got a few things in the work at the moment. I'm hoping to start a series about kind of Christian psychology, how Christianity like, kind of affects um, religious people, like the effects of that. Because you kind of see a lot of atheists say that Christianity has a negative or positive effect. So I wanted to kind of do a few videos on that. That's what I'm hoping to do. So hopefully that goes well. Um, Today or tomorrow, I have another video coming up from Leviticus, the meaning of life is in the blood, what kind of that idea is there. So that'll be fun, hopefully. Be sure to check out my content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, of course, and then as well as my app, Follows the Shepherd on the Play Store and followstheshepherd.org.
All right, good stuff. You're also translating stuff, right? Can you tell us
Oh,
about
yeah,
that?
definitely. Mhm. Yeah, so we have a lot of content that we're trying to translate into other languages. Right now, we have a lot of Japanese, Spanish, French videos, a few Arabic videos, and they've been actually doing pretty well. Like one of our Japanese ones hit almost 2,000 views on YouTube, so I was really happy about that. So, if you guys want to support us translating our videos into other languages, to support us, we have, if you go onto our website, at the very bottom it says like donate, so you guys can do that there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, do you have any topics or questions or anything that you would like to talk about? I have a couple, but I want to know if you have anything.
Yeah, I have a few. So I'm not sure if you know anything about this, but it's been kind of popular at the moment.
Oh
But
no.
at the moment, people have been talking about how there's structures under the pyramids. So I just want to hear if you had any thoughts on that, or
There's what under the pyramids?
like structures, like buildings, and like there's like this whole conspiracy theory about how there's like these giant
Oh wow.
like columns and like
Oh
roofs and
yeah. No, you're on the internet way more than I am. I guess.
yeah.
I know nothing about that. I know nothing about that. Was
No,
this
I love my
started
conspiracy
by
theories.
Christians or something, or?
It was started by what was it? I think it was like what's the name? I don't. It was. It's not Ron White. It's the other dude. The
Oh, Ron
It's like pretty
Wyatt.
much the same guy, but it's one
Is
of
he?
those people. They like that kind of
Gotcha.
yeah, one of those people that don't really have credentials for what they're doing, but they're doing stuff
Man,
and get some
I like
things.
Christians. Oh man, I feel so bad for Christians sometimes because like you get
So
into biblical archaeology like oftentimes for apologetic purposes, sometimes just for fun to encourage you in faith, and then you come across like Ron Wyatt's claims, and it's like, oh wow, like this is a bona fide scholar, and he's saying all these things. Of course, there's evidence for
yeah,
Christianity, and it's like he was a fraud.
no,
He
literally,
and it's so sad, and I feel like there's a lot of that in the Christian archaeological slash historical space. There's a lot of
yeah.
fraud and misinformation and
Mhm.
those sorts of things. Is really sad. um, no, but that I did not know anything about that. Do you have any thoughts on the conspiracy?
I mean, I'm not too crazy about it 'cause I'm not into like radio technology, but like they kind of like taking scans of it. And based on the scholars that I have listened to, like Dr. Folk, for example, who's obviously an Egyptologist, so he knows a little more than I do on this kind of
Right.
it doesn't really seem very legit. The scans they've been using, at least according to what I've heard, doesn't penetrate that far down, and there does seem to be like a lot
Mm,
of sketchy things about the whole theory there. But
gotcha. Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Did you
Mhm.
have anything else?
I was gonna kind of mention that it's kind of sad that people try to like fabricate evidence for Christianity, especially because we have so much evidence for it. You know what I mean? It's just the evidence is not as flashy, I guess. That's kind of
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah. And it
Mhm.
makes it harder, because uh
Mhm.
if people in just especially in our current climate just love to throw the baby out the bathwater. So if they find out
Yeah.
that some facts are false, then
Mhm.
all of them become false.
Yeah.
And there's no nuance or middle ground or anything like
Yeah.
that. And I understand why, but that's often the
Mhm.
case. And so these false claims do ruin people's faith because they can't seem to imagine a faith without those claims. Um, which again isn't their fault because they're taught that by us.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, definitely.
it is absolutely not their fault. I'm not blaming them at all. I
Some
really
people
don't.
just wait too many times to get devoured.
Yeah, yeah. I really don't blame a lot of deconstructionists. I really don't, because it's our
Mhm.
fault a lot of times. They're not just wanting to sin.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that's fair. Um, did you have anything else?
I have two more topics, but you can use one of your topic. We can kind of go back and
Okay,
forth if you like.
bet. So, I have been working on my article series on evolutionary creationism. So, if you don't know, last summer I started a series of 12 articles focusing on explaining and defending evolutionary creationism. Um, I am hoping to finish that series this summer. So, I'm editing, going back and editing through the articles, and I want to finish writing the remaining articles. Now, it's been very interesting to go back to these articles after about a year, roughly a year, because when I initially wrote them, I was in a very interesting place. Um, I A lot of this was an exploration. I used the article series to explore like where I was going with theistic evolution or evolutionary creationism, um, because I had something happen where I was rejected from a group because of that. Um, because
Okay.
I was starting to get more open to that, to those sorts of ideas, and from a Christian group because of this, and it was very that. So I was I would say maybe a little bitter about that. Um, it was definitely it was definitely there. I definitely had some
Yeah.
feelings there. But like also I got really hyper independent last summer.
Mhm.
So I was like pumping out content and doing all sorts of things. Got a second job. Like I try to keep myself so busy. Um, because because I was getting like too independent to where it's kind of becoming a problem. Um, because I was just like ignoring some of the feelings that I was having about something else that was going on in my life at the moment. So it's very interesting to go back and to like hear myself and to kind of feel myself in those articles. But I am editing them so that any like trying to keep the language, I guess, more civil. Not that I wasn't civil initially, but I definitely looking back at like going back to some Google Docs and seeing some drafts and stuff. Like I have a
Mhm.
draft for a review of the Moody Handbook of Theology section on
Mhm.
theistic evolution, and it's bad. I mean, his section. I really don't. I think his name is Paul Enns or Peter Enns. I don't know what this man was thinking. um, it is bad, but uh, I realize like my language in addressing it is not the
Mhm.
best, and so that's definitely something to go back and to look over for sure.
Mhm.
But it's been also a fun process. I've added some additional content to some of the articles. I have been able to um, I guess pinpoint the focus of those articles because I had a lot of because I was posting these articles in different groups, so I had a lot of atheists who were thinking and responding to my articles on theistic evolution or evolutionary creationism. Hey, good to see you on live. Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to go live every Monday, so we had to push the Monday live back a little bit earlier. That's why I'm live now, but usually it's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, for free. I might crash out in this one, so stick around. But we'll
So
see.
that's popcorn.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Um, but so I had a lot of atheists responding to my articles on theistic evolution, and like I appreciate it, especially because I don't. I often see young Earth creationists and atheists just being two sides of the same coin that are yelling at each other in a constant loop. So it's nice to see them react to something that's outside of that loop. But um, I realized that I want to make this article series not as an apologetic for the Christian faith, but as a theology for Christians. So I want to convince Christians that this is a solid theology that we and a solid biblical interpretation, even if it's false, that there's evidence for it and there's reason for it, and it at least makes sense internally. That's what I'm trying to do. And so with that aim, with that more focus, I've shifted some of the language to try to maintain that focus. And I think it too that makes sense on one hand because it's usually Christians who are misunderstanding evolution. I found recently frankly, what I consider a piece of propaganda of which is going to be in one of the articles that I edited of a tower on the left side of the page and a tower on the right side of the page. The left side has at its foundation evolution. This says Satan in parentheses, and then on the other side, there's the foundation is Christ, and in parentheses it says creation, and on the tower that says evolution, that's shooting at the one that says creation. There is divorce, and racism and all of these other bad things that Christians and conservative Christians are going to now conservative Christians are going to say is bad, and they're all associated with evolution as if evolution started this. Racism is the one I think is particularly hilarious, given that it's medieval Christians who created these racial categories and created them as a theology to begin with. But be that as it may. So I ended up finding that, so I got to respond to that in one of the articles. So yeah, good stuff there. Like I said, I'm going to finish that series and publish and post it basically everywhere so that people, on my Facebook and my official Reddit page and so on can go check it out. But yeah, very excited for that, and I'm very excited to have a more calm demeanor as I tackle these topics. So yeah. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Very excited about that though. But yeah, so we can bounce to you though for the next topic, and then I might crash. We'll see.
So another topic I had is, what is your opinion on the Islamic dilemma? Do you know anything about that?
The Islamic dilemma, yeah. Because David Wood is the one that coined this argument, right?
I mean, there was people before it, but he popularized it.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? But he's the guy with he's the older gentleman. He has the glass. And that probably describes everyone, but
yeah.
But there was a guy before him that popular. Actually, I kind of made it, but yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm aware of it. The dilemma is supposed to show that, regardless of the answer that the Muslim gives to the dilemma, the Bible is going to be considered true and a refutation of the Quran, or something like that. The argument goes. It's been a while, so yeah. If you want to describe it and then sort of explain.
Okay. So the idea is that the Quran says that the Bible is reliable. It has that Christians should go to the Bible to learn, and it says that in the law supposedly tells Muhammad to talk to the Christians when he's in doubt, or the Jews when he's in doubt to reaffirm him because the scriptures reaffirm the Quran. But then it also obviously contradicts the Quran. So the idea is that either the Quran is wrong because it's reaffirming scripture, or the scriptures are fine, but the so like the Quran's how do I word that? But
So is the idea that like either the Bible is reliable, which makes the Quran false, or the Bible is not reliable, which would also make the Quran false because it assumes that it's reliable,
yeah,
right? And so either way, the Quran is viewed as false, especially based on how Muslims view the Quran. Because I don't think a lot of people realize this unless they like study the religion a little bit and stuff. But like, it's one of the things that become immediate as you study it. But like, Muslims don't view the Quran the same way Christians view the Bible. Especially after Christians have, well, not after, because we've always known this, but Christians have had to wrestle with translation issues, manuscript issues, the fact that, like, honestly, we can't get to the original text. I think at this point, because the text has been has changed over time. Not that stuff hasn't been preserved, but knowing with 100% certainty that this is what the original said is, assuming that the original communities that created these texts didn't go back and edit them later, which they probably did. That's it's a hard bargain to say that that we can do that. But a lot of Muslims, for example, want to say that they have the original Quran. The original one that Muhammad was reciting is the very one that the Arabic speakers are reciting and things like that. So yeah, it is a bit of a different view, maybe even a simpler view, at least for a lot of Muslims. Obviously, Muslims are not a monolith, for sure.
yeah. Well, I noticed that a lot of Muslims don't quite realize that they also have the same issues that we have with the Bible. There are tons of textual variations we find in the Quran and other manuscripts. Even very early ones, we have plenty of them. Like, for example, I don't remember the exact verse, but it says something along the lines of, like, they were made, and another one says, we are making. A very large difference in the thing. Obviously, it doesn't have any theological implications, but it's still a scribal, issue with that. If anyone wants a specific citation, I could probably find that after this live, but that's just an example.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you plan on making videos on Islam in the next couple months?
Maybe. I'm very hesitant about making a lot of videos on Islam because last time I got death threats, so it's definitely not my favorite thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I've made videos off and on about Islam over the years, and that is unfortunately the case. I think I'm too small. I was too small of a creator to get death threats, but I definitely, definitely got a lot of hate, which is not unique to the Islamic religion. I've seen atheists post comments from supposed Christians that make me ashamed to be a Christian. But and I don't know this. This is just subjective, but it feels like critique of Islam tends to be taken a bit differently than Christians when they take critique of Christianity. I decided to talk about this because this happened for 3 straight videos. Well, 3 straight videos. 3 videos over like the last couple days, last week, something like that. I made a video arguing that Trump probably did commit essay, and I was correcting some
Mhm.
information that someone commented, basically in a prior video. I made a video in my philosophy series explaining that
Mhm.
there are different philosophical definitions of the term evidence, and
Mhm.
I uh, talked about one and used the theism atheism debate as a example
Mhm.
of where this becomes relevant. Um, and I created another video where the comments got interesting. Oh, it was a video where it was a repost where I was talking about marriage uh, of a particular age that should not be allowed.
Oh.
I don't, yeah. So, and what I tried to say was that this is a part of all of the Abrahamic religions. Like all
Mhm.
of them have engaged in this, although Christians and Jews have also protested this throughout history, especially Christians.
Yeah.
But Islam has it at the foundation because the this is at least according to a lot of Muslims and a lot of Muslim sources, this is what the Prophet Muhammad did.
Mhm.
And that becomes a problem when you see the Prophet Muhammad as a pattern of conduct for what you should do today. And this is why we see a lot of Muslims who are arguing for this, who will go on the public stage and debate
Mhm.
the idea that you should be able to marry
Mhm.
underage people. Um, so these three videos, right?
Yeah.
Um, I was so frustrated with the comment sections on TikTok specifically of these three videos
Mhm.
that I genuinely I don't get it. Um, Particularly with the philosophy one because it's so easy to go online and to find academics disagreeing about uh, the definition of evidence and how that works out practically. Like what I brought up, which is a probabilistic theory of evidence, which is the one that I ascribe to. Evidence is whatever raises the prior probability of a given proposition. Uh, this is not controversial.
Yeah.
This is not a hot take. And just because I bring up the theism atheism debate as an example of where this comes up and where this
Mhm.
matters does not mean um, that I'm trying to make it easier for Christian apologetics. And because that
Yeah.
was the basically what a lot of people were saying in the comments, or there was one comment that sarcastically said, I have no evidence for my religion, so let's just change the definition of evidence.
Oh
That is
boy.
not what's happening. This is a philosophical conversation that's going on. And I cited a video that was made by an atheist who was correct, who was philosophically trained, who was correcting online atheists about five things. And one of those things was their definition of evidence for this very reason. And I just found it so frustrating that something so basic that should not be controversial became controversial for no reason.
Mhm.
This is not a hot. This is this is
Yeah, not
not
at
a
all.
hot take. This is one of the many philosophical theories that are
Mhm.
going around that atheists and Christians subscribe to. That people of no religion but are spiritual subscribe to. You know what I mean? Like it was so frustrating. And this is also what happened with the other two videos.
Uh-huh.
Um, I the United States Court of Appeals thinks Trump committed SA.
Mhm.
That's not me. Like they went along with the decision of the court and they rejected his appeal to the first Trump v. Carroll trial.
Mhm.
And it is absolutely true that uh, Islam has CM as part of its foundation because that's what the Prophet Muhammad did.
Uh-huh.
Um, And I got a lot of response to that video, like, "Oh, you Christians can't say nothing because Christians are arguing for this," or they might cite a Bible passage, like the number situation with Moses, um, and things like that. And it's like we can have those discussions, but you're completely missing the point. Like I literally said in the video, practitioners of all three Abrahamic religions can agree that practitioners of these religions have done horrible things, and Siyam is one of them. So I allude to that and I say that in the video, but people still felt like pointing out hypocrisy of me what I'm saying in the video is somehow a response when it's not. It's the fact that Islam has this at the foundation that becomes the problem. And there are ways for Islam to handle this, but no one bothered bringing that up in the comments.
Yeah. Definitely just boils down to whataboutism.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It just it became a big whataboutism. And also like putting aside the fact that the number situation doesn't work because Moses and his dumb soldiers were doing this, not God. It also doesn't help that, in my opinion, the Bible is not the foundation of Christianity. It's Christ, it's God, which means that my point that I made in the video still stands. And then the Trump thing, like, I've alluded to this. I talked about this, I think, in 2023 Men's Mental Health Series, which would coincide with Pride Month, 2023 series. I have been essayed, and I brought this up in the video, and like, the fact that the first thing anyone that commented on that video wanted to do was support Trump, rather than like at least start by empathizing, because my critique is coming from a very real place. Like, it's not just the fact that our government decided that he did something probably did something morally reprehensible. It's the fact that making him the most powerful man in the world, might not necessarily say anything about your character, because I mean, people can vote for whoever they want, blah blah blah. The ethics of that are complicated, but it certainly says something to us, the victims, that men, I mean, frankly, anyone, because in my case it was women, but especially men, are not going to be held accountable for their actions. That your voice doesn't matter, and that you don't have one. And that's honestly how it felt to deal with the comment sections of all three of these videos early, but especially this one, because it relates to a personal thing I've been through. Like, when your response is, "Why did she wait so long? That's sus." Like, no, duh. Like, I don't understand how people don't understand at this point why it would take someone so long to talk about such a horrific experience. It's very obvious. It's very right there. I guess what I'm trying to get at is that these three comment sections really frustrated me because they completely missed the point, committed whataboutisms, and didn't engage the videos in substantive ways, but I think demonstrated this consistent problem that we're having. All of us, regardless of who you are, what positions you have, all of us are having with online conversations. They are not being fruitful. They are not being as helpful, engaging, and forming for our moral character as they ought to be. And a lot of times they're doing the exact opposite, because we don't want to listen to people. We don't want to empathize with people and their pain. And we don't want to do the research to see that this is a basic fact. What we want to do is argue, we want to troll, we want to do all of these other things that are not helpful. And it reminds me of a quote. This quote was on the door of one of the faculty members here at my university for a while. I don't know if it's still there, but it says that like it was something like the biggest problem when it comes to conversations is the illusion that one is happening. And I feel like that is what is happening. There's been a few Jubilee debates that have come out recently. I think one was like a LGBTQ gay and trans individual. I think gay. I don't think they were trans, but a gay individual who was debating like 20 conservatives, and the other one was Jordan Peterson, who was debating like 20 people or something. And like, you can tell in a lot of these conversations that they're not here to have a conversation. They're here to declare things. They're here to scream over you, and they get very emotional, and it's just not helpful. These conversations aren't conversations. There's something else, and it's really bugging me, as you can tell. Again, especially that Trump one, how do you not understand why it would take so long for someone to come out with this? Like, how do you not understand why why you would use a civil court which has a lower burden of evidence to try to demonstrate something that happened 20 years ago? Like, if something happens in private where there are no cameras, guess what? That's going to be harder to prove. And you might not be able to reach the burden of proof that you otherwise would at a federal court or whatever. This stuff is it just seems so obvious to me. And it's like, and again, like I said, this is a loss for any victim. I know women who are victims of SA who voted for Trump. You are making your voice irrelevant because you are telling people that even your own the people who hurt you are not going to be held accountable, that people can get away with whatever they want and using your body in any way that they want. And that's just not cool. I don't get it. So yeah, I think this is some of this, at least I pray to God, is being recognized. Dr. Gavin Ortlund made a video on his Truth Unites YouTube channel. I think talking about and critiquing Christians for their online engagement, because it sucks, frankly. It is really bad. I hate to think that some of the people who responded to these 3 videos are Christians, especially the Trump one, because I made the Trump video as a correcting Christians video because I wanted to correct the Christians who voted for Trump. Not saying anything about his politics, not saying Kamala was better or worse. I'm just saying that putting him in office says something to us. And even the people who have been essayed, who voted for him, don't seem to realize that. But yeah, we're not demonstrating empathy. We're not being Christ-like. And people of various different positions, politically, religiously, non-religiously, etc., are not coming to comment sections. They're not coming to Twitter posts or X posts. They're not coming to these engagements to engage faithfully. And it's like, why are you here? Because I don't want that, and I don't care about your other motives. I'm here to have a conversation. So yeah, and I guess this also particularly bugs me from my upbringing. I have, I guess, lower T trauma might be the best way to put it, related to communication. I tend to subconsciously think that people aren't listening to me or paying attention to me and what I have to say. And that bugs me, and and I hate being misunderstood. Um, so seeing the comment sections almost seemingly on purpose misunderstanding me. I had a guy who argued for like 50 comments. I might be exaggerating, but it felt like 50 comments.
Yeah.
I had a guy argue that I defined atheism wrong in my video when I brought it up, which I didn't. I literally, in the video, I literally mentioned in one of my videos, I literally mentioned two different definitions of atheism and said either way, why does it matter that babies are born atheists? Which, whether or not they're not, is also something I didn't come down on. But my point of the video was asking, why does it matter? And people ran in my comments like, why are you defining atheism? Like, I'm not. I'm not. So that was another video. So that was like a fourth video where this happened, where I was, it was a apologetics video where I was like, hey, are people born atheists? Maybe. I don't freaking care. It literally doesn't matter. And I tried to show that based on two different definitions of atheism, but people still had a bunch of issues and went around in circles with me. So
that's even true. I mean, if you look at the actual studies of psychology, you are actually more drawn towards, like, if you look at sociological studies, people are more drawn to kind of something greater than them if you read them. So I don't even think that's true to begin with. But even if it was true that, we just all start out as atheists, that doesn't mean it's true in any possible way. If you were living in, like, 10,000 BC, to you the world's probably, I don't know, flat or something like that. You know what I mean? But just because you're born thinking that isn't true,
yeah,
any precedents.
yeah. There was someone who was actually very helpful in the TikTok comments who. Keep in mind, these 4 videos, I had 3 in my notes. I forgot to mention the Born Atheist video. All 4 of these videos, like comments that I'm talking about that are toxic and problematic and dumb, are on TikTok. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube did not give me this headache. Yeah. So I ended up. But there was someone who commented under the TikTok comments of the One Atheist video and actually cited studies to try to show that it's not true that we're born atheists, which is fun because
we'll make a video on that too.
Yeah. Because like no one else was as helpful as this one guy, so yeah. All of this was like lower T triggering. Like I was fine, but like obviously, especially given the communication issues that I have, on top of this, at least for the Trump video, the subject matter, how people are reacting, it was very bad. And I'm just so worried about the degeneration of communication online. Like this is not getting us anywhere. And if people are going to continue to do nothing but troll or use emoji sarcastically or not engage the video the way that the creator would like the video to be engaged, at least when reasonable. Like if they're asking a question that is genuine, then answer it genuinely. I don't know why that isn't very simple to understand. If we keep continuing to do this, then especially with the bipartisan politics and the rise and the climate feels like it's getting hotter, not cooler.
As
Um,
my phone turns off from the heat.
yeah, yeah. Um, we're not helping each other.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue to be a problem. And I'm very, um, I mean to say it, I'm very pissed, frankly, about it. So that's my little crash out.
Codenamed. No,
Yeah.
I think we all get in those cycles of just losing it sometimes. Because people, I don't know, I can understand that it's hard to interact with people online because there's just so much nuance that we lose, especially for like very short videos. Like, there just seems to be like people just do not want to take the benefit of the doubt at all. Like they just throw it away when someone disagrees with someone. And it leads to just so many issues. So especially in my like conversations offline, I always want to be like very specific on what someone's arguing. And people get very irritated with me because I like to be very um detailed with it. Less than like, for example, I was having a discussion on socialism, very this different topic.
Hmm.
But I like to get very, like to like how are you defining socialism? How are you defining capitalism? How are you defining, you know, evidence, for example? I guess what you're going back to earlier. People just want to lack and they just want to get to the next thing. It's really hurt discussions.
Yeah, especially with things going on in culture, a lot of books and cultural analysts are talking about the time-space collapse, and hurry and the rush of life, and it is absolutely affecting and consumerism, all of which is absolutely affecting the way that we are consuming content. We're no longer we're not there to engage. We're there to consume and move on. We're there to react and move on. Um, we're not there for nuances. We're not there for discussion. I just very very worried about that. We're not there to understand. Um, I mean, good. I mean, goodness. At least Proverbs says, um, answer. What does it say? Like,
It's not fool to their folly,
um,
or is it a different one?
it's similar, but it's a different one. Um, um, he who answers a matter before he has heard it is a fool. Um, and it feels like that's a lot of social media. It feels like a lot of people are answering matters before they've actually heard them. And at this point, when you have all this technology and all this research, when you can go on ChatGPT and ask it what the academic da 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 is and get that, like people have, and I'm saying this for me too, because I can be dumb. I can be I can be very inaccurate in my answers and my comments and my thoughts. Um, we just don't have less excuse to be inaccurate, but at the same time also have more, because with all of this power has come so much false information, because people haven't had the responsibility to people have not been able to develop responsibilities and ethics to keep up with the power of technology that we have. And so all of this false information also spreads as well. And becomes very problematic. This happened on TikTok recently. Like I mean, I got the implication from several videos that because of the recent TikTok updates to the terms and services for monetized creators, that if you use that you one literally it would not be an option to use a green screen anymore, or two, if it was that and you used it, that your video would get banned or something. Um, None of that's happening.
Yeah.
They are trying to stop certain things from happening, so they might ban some of those videos if you're just like reading off of the article or something, which is could be seen as plagiarism by a lot of people, which is totally fair. But neither one of those things are happening. I will say they're probably not pushing out that video as much. My video on Black theology recently, where like it was a big comment that I was reading, didn't get pushed out as much. But like nothing happened. My account's in good standing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what implications people got, but even something like that where like like there is intent behind the words of the authors when they change the terms of services and all that stuff, um, just got misunderstood immediately.
Yeah.
um, Not a good sign. Not a good sign. Oh man.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Another thing I think is part of it is like people just don't want to read at all. Like when I ask someone like when's the last time they've read a book, they can't tell me. They literally can't tell me.
I
And
it's
I'm like,
yeah.
what? Like I try to read daily, and I'll ask I have like a lot of friends, and I'll tell them like when's the last time you read? Like they'll say high school. Like I'm like I don't know. It's just I feel like it's a big part of it. If you can't focus on reading something, I think we just kind of go crazy a little bit.
I uh I've tried reading.
Oh gosh.
I that's definitely a fault of mine. But I'm also I'm an auditory learner though. So I would rather listen to the scholar, especially if he she they them have a great voice.
Mhm.
I would rather listen to them talk about their book than go read their book. I fully admit. But I am trying. It's not for lack of books. I have like 3 bags and some change full of books over there.
Yeah.
I have 2 study Bibles. Obviously, I'm writing all these articles and doing the research for them. So I have a lot of a lot of what I read is academic stuff.
Mhm.
My university has been so helpful because I through the university I have Perlego for free, which gives me access to like thousands of books for free. I have their ebook database, which is another collection of books that they have, and I have a bunch of free databases where I can go and um, get published like articles, published in peer-reviewed articles from people. So all that's great.
Yeah,
And so I will
most
say,
schools will have that.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So and all that's great. I do struggle to I do struggle to read consistently. But I have been blessed though that despite that, I feel like I at a conceptual level I can wrap my head around things, and um I do have like a pretty big vocabulary when I focus on what I'm saying and stuff. Um, so I am fortunate in all of that. I did struggle with reading during elementary school. Like I was in like a special reading program for most of my elementary school, if not all of it. But I did get better and stuff.
I
I
was just
did,
reading and writing.
yeah. I did not read the Chronicles of Narnia.
What?
I listened to a reading of the first book, The Lion, the Witch, and the
Mm.
Wardrobe, um, and I watched the movie.
Oh, the movie. Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. That the first Chronicles of Narnia movie, by the way, deserves respect. Okay, like that movie slaps.
Yeah.
Um,
One thing I've watched the movie is actually.
oh man, at least the first one's so good. After
Yeah.
that, meh, debatable, but
Hmm.
yeah. So, but no, I think that's fair. I mean, honestly, I would suggest people watch a lot of movies, watch a lot of TV shows, and read a lot of books.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm aware, the research has indicated that watching a lot of movies and shows and reading a lot of books improves your empathy, cognitive ability, vocabulary, like all the areas. Like, and
Reasoning.
empathy, yeah, and empathy is a big one. Like, start from, if we could start from a place of empathy when we're speaking to people, um, I just think all of these important discussions people have would be better off.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I also don't think that we have a president who likes to mock people.
Yeah, he loves to do that. It's his favorite thing, actually.
Yeah, like his type of mockery just seems so very unchristian to me.
Mhm.
And like low key racist. There's a book called The Souls of White Jokes, I believe, which is talking about how racial jokes. Now you know me, I love racist jokes, by the way. So this is not an indictment on all race jokes, or the left liberal evil attempt to
Yeah.
censor us all. But um, I but in the book, he refers to Trump and some of the jokes he's told, like calling, I think, one chick Pocahontas at one point, and some jokes that other people have told that have popped up on certain sites where they don't like certain races, uh,
Mhm.
as as evidence of the fact that people are using racial jokes to propel racism, and then they're able to go back and play the plausible deniability card. They
Mhm.
can pull out, plausible deniability. They can, they can refer to this whole idea that the left, wants to censor us or take away the comedy that we used to love in the '90s and early 2000s,
Mhm.
um, and all that sort of stuff. Like they can deploy those tactics as a means of defending their racism. Point is, though, Trump, I don't think helps because he is very insulting.
Mhm.
I think people who even like him could admit to that. Like,
Mhm.
like he's gone too far in his insults.
Yeah. I mean,
That just seems very unchristian to me. But it's also not helpful because if that's how he's going to engage his opponents, why wouldn't that be how America just engages theirs in general?
yeah.
How American citizens, at least, engage theirs in general. Even if they're not intending to, the fact that we see him on such a pedestal doing that stuff is definitely going to give other people the impression that they can do that too and get away with it. Because again, Trump has not been held. Well, he's been held accountable in a way, just
Yeah.
for some of his actions. Just maybe not in the way that we would like for all of his actions. So.
I'm really hoping that maybe next term we can kind of President has a little bit more of a mind and that's a little more kinder, but about civilian America.
A
I
decent
just,
human man.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe one of these days, but I think the next one's just gonna be more unhinged. I doubt it.
Uh,
Like a normal, I don't know. I think
are
it's
we ever?
hilarious.
Are we ever going to recover these other questions?
Yeah.
So I was wanting to wrap things up. If you had anything else to say, the way we have updates, your content, where you like people to go, that sort of thing, feel free to do so.
Yeah, alrighty. Well, once again, be sure to check out my website, org, as well as our app on the Play Store, so we can keep raising money to make translations and other languages. Like I said earlier, we have been doing a lot of success with that. Like one of our Japanese videos in 2000 views on YouTube. A lot of our Spanish and French ones hit like 500 views, and they're actually reaching countries. Like we have like in some of my videos, I have like a 50% in Taiwan or 60% in Japan. So we're actually making some progress there. So if you guys have any interest in helping out there, that'd be great. Um, you, but
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining me and listening to my rants. Again, feel free to check out my Facebook and Instagram. I set up gifts and stars there, so you can gift me for the content. My video on trauma and relationships, interviewing former therapist Dr. Doolittle, is coming out is premiering on YouTube in like 9 minutes now, I think. So go check it out at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after this live stream. Don't forget, I will be doing Pride and men's mental health content in June, so get ready for that. While you're over at YouTube, check out my membership perks and become a member of my YouTube channel. Excuse me, you'll get exclusive perks for being a member. And still be able to enjoy all the content and everything for free. And note that I will be making Clyde Park Church of Nazarene content for their YouTube channel. So go there if you're interested in ministry, church, those sorts of things. Go there and make sure to check out that content. We have a video on New Testament wisdom coming up, and I want to make a video on men's mental health for that YouTube channel in June as well. So thank you, James, for for listening to my rants and being here to do this with me. I don't think I have any major plans for the next Monday Live. Hey, James, I will see you, and everyone, I will see you guys next week.